How many folks support Vice President Harris? Any hands? No hands.
Wow.
Okay.
It's nobody's business.
It's nobody's business, says one man. So there you go. I tried, Maria, and
Interesting.
it's fine.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow. Interesting. Well,
something that these guys do is they make a lot of claims about if Donald Trump becomes president, all of these terrible consequences are going to ensue. But in reality, Donald Trump was president. Inflation was low. Take-home pay was higher. Something that these guys do.
Repeat. Let's hear it again.
Is they make a lot of claims about if Donald Trump becomes president, all of these terrible consequences are going to ensue. But in reality, Donald Trump was president. Inflation was low. Take-home pay was higher.
Now, this graphic is going viral around the world. Just want to show y'all. What do y'all think of this graphic here? I'll let those beautiful patriots, my brothers and sisters around the world, have their opinion on this. Pretty sure we all feel the exact same way. You know? It's a disgrace. Your blood should be boiling. Matter of fact, let me just go and get this. Let me go and switch over to the next thing before people's blood pressure get too high, man. We don't need nobody blood pressure up. But you know, your blood should be boiling though. Oh man, boy, I can't wait to show y'all this, man. You know, and everything that's going on right now, I don't see why it isn't. You know, President Trump doesn't win this. You know, 1984 style. This is exactly how President Trump should win. 1984. But boy, check this out, y'all. MSNBC is stunned, shaking out their shoes. I mean, vomiting after a never Trumper comes on live on air and changes his mind. That he is voting for Trump now to save America due to 4 years of awful policies from Biden and Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, Camellia Harris, Scamala Harris. I don't care. I don't know. But boy, y'all got to hear this, man. Oh boy, it's getting spicier and spicier today. I love it. I love it. It's getting spicy, y'all. Matter of fact, let me go into full react. Let me go into full screen mode. I need everybody to see this. You know, we can't just go little screen. Everybody got to see this. Hey. Yeah.
For you after that, why was it important for you to say no more Trump because of his January 6th conduct? And do you stand by that?
No, I don't stand by it. And I'll tell you why. I've now lived 4 years under the Biden-Harris policies. And I have to say that those policies are not only becoming an existential threat to our country's way of life, but to our allies as well.
So when you
and
Ambassador, this is I'll let you finish, but this is so striking. You said it was a no for me after that, after January 6th.
I did.
And here we are right now.
I did.
And you're saying it's a yes for you.
It is a yes for me. It is an absolute yes for me. That is how badly the Biden-Harris team have prosecuted their job.
But the whole point you seem to be making was that January 6th and that kind of attack on democracy is bigger than any policy difference.
I am seeing so many attacks on democracy that eclipse January 6th.
Wow. And then pretty soon he'll see that Nancy Pelosi walked in there with them box wines. Whoa, it's getting spicy, y'all. I told y'all, man, but this is not, it's everybody, man. Everybody is waking up and seeing what's actually going on, man. And again, I don't see how anybody, but again, I know about them liberals. We know about them, you know, Trump derangement syndrome, stage 4, Trump derangement syndrome, stage 4. You know, we know about them liberals, you know, but I told y'all, the never Trumpers, the anti-Trumpers, there are some people even coming back after having stage 4. It's a rare case. But we're seeing some cases now of people coming back even after having stage 4. Trump derangement syndrome. Stage 4. Boy, people are sick and tired, man. The tide is turning. I told y'all what's going to happen. Tim Walz just blew it. You know? Kamala Harris blew it. Biden, he blew the motor and the transmission. It was a cheap fake, a deep fake. He don't know where he's at. He's at the beach. He dropped his slushy, his snow cone in the sand. Yeah.
To an August 2020 tweet that Cheney had previously posted that read, quote, Kamala Harris has a more liberal voting record than Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Her radical leftist views, raising taxes, banning gun sales, taxpayer money for abortion and illegal immigrant health care, it goes on to say would be devastating for America. So,
you know, it's Cheney before the fall. Like they say, you just can't make this up, man. You just can't make it up.
How is Vice President Harris performing with young voters compared to how President Biden did in 2020?
Some numbers, Anderson, to help with that question. Number one, just look at this choice for president. I want to stretch this out a little bit. Excuse me for turning my back. This is from a recent New York Times Siena poll. It shows Donald Trump and the vice president tied among voters aged 18 to 29. Joe Biden carried that group by 24 points in 2020 in the exit polls. From being on the ground, remember, when you poll a smaller subgroup in a poll, there's a bigger margin of error. I can't quite believe it's a tie from being on the ground several times in Michigan, but there's no question the vice president is doing better than President Biden was doing earlier this year, when a lot of young voters didn't want him to be the candidate anymore. But she's not doing as well as he did back in 2020. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt about it.
How is Vice President Harris performing?
So the Democrats' assistant coach fumbling the ball at the big VP debate, Senator J.D. Vance and Governor Tim Walz strikes.
The Democrats' assistant coach. Oh, man. Come on, there, y'all. I'm telling y'all, they something else, man. Yes, indeed.
Striking a more civil tone as they tangled over the big issues facing the country. And it turns out shielding your candidate from media scrutiny is just not the best strategy. Tim Walz only doing a half dozen interviews before the showdown, and it left him a little bit rusty when compared to the battle-tested Vance. Watch.
A nearly 80-year-old Donald Trump talking about crowd sizes is not what we need in this moment.
Governor Walz just accused Donald Trump of being an agent of chaos. Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence. People were afraid of stepping out of line.
When we start to see that type of fickleness around holding the coalitions together, Donald Trump's fickle leadership. Donald Trump is fickle.
If you blame Donald Trump, who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years? And the answer is your running mate, not mine.
I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's the test. That's the Supreme Court test.
Tim, fire in a crowded theater. You guys wanted to kick people off of Facebook for saying that toddlers shouldn't wear masks.
Walz has faced credibility issues from stolen valor claims to embellishing his military record. And last night, he stumbled over whether he was in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square protest, despite many outlets reporting that he wasn't.
Can you explain that discrepancy?
My community knows who I am. They saw where I was at. Look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. And I'm a knucklehead at times.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests.
Throw the whole campaign away. Yeah. I know they're just, they're just, it's over for them, man. They're panicking. They're shaking out their shoes, y'all. That's it. I'm telling you, this should be a 1984 style election win for Trump. And now you see, I'm telling you, see why these lifelong Democrats, anti-Trumpers, never Trumpers, are packing up their bags. After everything they've seen, they've had enough. And this is also what happened when you hide and duck and dodge. You don't do interviews. You run away. You know, softball after softball. This is the result you get. Now, there's still liberals and Trump deranged stage 4 people out there that just hate Trump. And that's fine. And women. I feel like that's their only voter base. And the ones they flying in. And the ones that's been using that app. You know. But it has to be too big to rig, man. This cannot be close. You know, and the ones that believe in the system. They believe in the corrupt system. The systems that's killing them. The system that thinks that has their back. We just sent, but they continue to send billions to Ukraine. And this lady's is laughing while people while people have died, animals have drowned. Y'all see what's going on? $750. Y'all see everything that's going on right now, man. You see the strike that's going on. You see everything that's going on. I don't have to say this. I don't have to get on camera. I don't even have to do this video. You see what's going on. But there are still people that believe in this corrupt scam of a matrix. I just don't see it. And there are some people that hate Trump because he called out the scam corrupt matrix. So they're going to continue to threat to democracy. Project 2025. They're still going to call out this crap. And now you see what's going on with the Project 2025 type of deal. How did that work out for you? Conspiracy theories. You know, people will still, I'm telling y'all, man, they believe in the system. They believe in the corrupt scam system. And how is that working out for you? They believe in the failed policies. Still believe in them. I just don't see how people can clap for this lady and Tampon Timmy. I just don't see it, man. Joy, pride. That's all they're running off of. Joy and pride. A new way forward. An opportunity economy. All right. Whatever that means.
Governor Walz had an entire night to sleep on those comments. His cleanup job wasn't that great.
Look, I have my dates wrong. I was in Hong Kong and China in 1989. That move from Hong Kong into China, it was profound for me. That was the summer of democracy. I said it's where I understood how sacred democracy was.
All right, Greg Gutfeld, haven't heard from you yet, and looking forward to it.
He was unprepared, but why is that his fault? Democrats don't have to be prepared. They're usually operating under the assumption that it's going to be an easier ride for them than if you were a Republican. And he's like, what's up? What's with all this stuff? The media tried to lower expectations for Walz, and they were right to do that now that we see how he did. But they overplayed Vance's unlikability. So you were expecting something that wasn't charming, smart, or steady. So the media actually helped Vance by amplifying his unlikability. The first time you saw Vance was last night after a steady diet of media caricatures. What a shock it must have been. Wow, he's not weird. He's not mean. I mean, this guy came out and just shows you how the media lies to you. Yep. The media portrays those outside their bubble falsely. And then when you finally see the reality, then your eyes are open to the things they say. Vance also did something good. He knew this wasn't a political talk show where you try to score points by making statements loudly that will end up being retweeted. He wasn't going for the dopamine. He was going for the depth. And that was his mission. And his mission showed a contrast between steady and unsteady. He showed that a silencer is just as deadly as a shotgun. I think what is really cowardly, though, is the mistake Democrats made by not choosing Shapiro. You know, they might lose Pennsylvania. They definitely lost that debate because they wanted a guy who wasn't a Jew. You know, and now you've got a non-Jew who's frantic, nervous, chaotic, liar. I think this was a real slap in the face to the Harris campaign. No offense to her husband.
Judge, I want to get to you after you watch this. This is the liberal media who was forced to praise J.D. Vance. Call for number 4.
Walz did seem unsteady. And frankly, what I saw in Walz is somebody who has not faced questions on a national stage since he became the Democratic nominee. In contrast, J.D. Vance was very smooth.
I was getting texts from Democrats, panicked, quite frankly, who were saying, wow, he's really moderating himself on a lot of these issues. He's the most likable he has ever been.
He seemed at many moments to be reasonable. Walz did not seem prepared for it.
I mean, a lot about this debate tonight was weird. There were uncomfortable, cringy moments.
There were so many niceties on that debate stage tonight. I am just kind of like, well, if you agree so much with J.D. Vance, why should they vote for you?
And how is this lady still on, get her off the screen. How is this lady here still, where that lady at, man?
Likable he has ever been.
He seemed at many moments to be reasonable. Walz did not seem prepared for it.
I mean, a lot about the
She need to be, she still got a job. Her and that David fella should be terminated. You know, get all this bias, fake news crap. They lost all credibility, man. You know, and that's why their ABC has lost to what? 30, was it 30? Is it 30, 40% now of their viewers?
This debate tonight was weird. There were uncomfortable, cringy moments.
There were so many niceties on that debate stage tonight. I am just kind of like, well, if you agree so much with J.D. Vance, why should they vote for you?
All right, Judge, take it away.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, it's clear that even they understood that J.D. Vance was solid, he was friendly, he was polite, he was disciplined, and he was the kind of guy that for the first time, and by the way, 88% of the American people said that this was a debate that was civil and that they enjoyed. I mean, that's a wonderful thing. And that's because of J.D. Vance. When they tried to cut him off, and we'll talk about that later, or when Walz lied, he was polite. This is a guy who's going to reach across the aisle. This is a guy who will make not only a great vice president, but a great president one day. And I don't want to get into a lot of the small stuff, but I got to tell you, I was exhausted watching Walz. I mean, it was like this, that, eyes punched out, turn around, right down. It was almost like he was waiting for the feds to come in and arrest him or something. I was like exhausted. But J.D. Vance, he so impressed me. And I think he impressed everybody. This is a guy who's going to try to solve problems. He didn't fight. He didn't play dirty. I just want to say one more thing about Walz. You know, being a knucklehead doesn't excuse you from being a serial liar.
And I was saying, Harold, that Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver was a knucklehead, right? It was, but, you know, lying about things that are pretty basic and then not having the ability to land an answer at your most important moment showed, I think, why the Democrats were nervous last night. How do you feel today?
So good to be back with everybody. I think the analysis that's been around the table, I think it was a very civil debate, and I think Tim Walz contributed to the civility also. But I think that the round robin we did with some of the other reporters and journalists, who I thought were honest about it. The three of us were on last night, and I said there are 5 things I think you have to do when you are in a debate like this, president or vice president. You got to be likable and optimistic. You got to show strength and capability. You got to be smart. You got to be relatable, and ultimately you got to show that you're presidential. J.D. Vance, you're right, Judge. He was coming from a little bit of a deficit because of some of the media characterizations, as you said, Greg, and he you walked away. I didn't agree with him on a lot of things, but I didn't think he was a bad guy. I just think as a guy that I don't agree with on things. But in terms of a person, a father, someone who's decent, and they agreed on child care, they agreed on guns, they agreed even in some other areas involving foreign policy, but they disagreed on some other things. I thought on the substance, JD was good on immigration and the border. He was good on the economy. He asked serious questions about why isn't the vice president doing this now? And I thought that after they took the first commercial break, Walz was good coming back as he got his stride on abortion. He talked about health care, and if we undo the Affordable Care, what happens? I thought JD didn't have, that was the only time his substantive answers, they weren't as smooth as some of the others. And finally, I think the question he asked about, will you accept the outcome of the election? Do you believe that President Trump does? And he didn't answer that. But you gotta, as you look at this thing overall, then you gotta say that he got the better of it, that being Senator Vance.
Did you wear a tie like this for a special occasion? Post-debate
Is this a special occasion tie?
I mean, it feels like happy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Unlike you, is what we're saying.
Yeah. This tie reflects the mood of the country. We are pleasantly surprised. How many times can you say that after watching these debates? Because there was the J.D. Vance hoax that was destroyed last night. We were told that this guy was a sketchball. And then many Americans, especially women, saw J.D. Vance last night, and they thought, this seems like the kind of guy you can bring home to your parents. He's smooth, he's polished, he's reasonable, he's civil, he's smart, he's humble. Everything that they said about him was completely the opposite. So he had a great night, but Trump even had a better night because Trump chose him. And remember, the first Trump term didn't pick the best people? A lot of people are now reassured that Trump is picking the right people this time. And in a race that this is this tight, you know how they say Trump has like 94% of Republicans? Mm-hmm. Those 6% of Republicans, you call them Nikki Haley people, never Trumpers, Christie, right? They loved J.D. Vance last night. I had so many texts from people like that saying, wow, J.D. Vance was amazing. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of presentation that they long for, that Trump doesn't bring to the table, but that can bring independents, women with college degrees, and moderate Republicans back. So he added to the ticket and created momentum after the Democrats have had a real bad last 4 or 5 days. Walz seemed nice, but didn't have a story to tell. Just seemed discombobulated, and the media hated him because he wasn't nasty enough. Their whole goal is to make Trump the devil. And you can't agree with the devil. And a lot of times they were nodding along, and it was like watching two Midwestern working class types of guys agree that the working class is kind of getting hosed by corporate America and by the powers that be. And that was really nice to see. That scared the hell out of the left because they don't want to see agreement. They want to see blood. So he made 2 huge mistakes. Everybody knows what they are. I'm friends with the school shooter, and was I in Hong Kong? I have no idea. Vance, 20 years younger than him. Does everybody know in the audience that Greg and Walz are the same age? Look how good he looks. Now put Walz on the screen. Now, you look at J.D. Vance, they say Kamala's the next generation. I look at J.D., he's the new generation. Yep. So a lot of people that know that Trump's termed out after 4 are going to look at this guy who can convey the American first message with an agreeable tone. They say this is a guy for the future.
You're telling me Walz is only 48?
You look so good, Greg.
Thanks.
The 5 is something else, man. I had to show it to y'all, man. You know, good take on there. But yeah, it's again 1984 style. I don't see how this Harris Walz ticket makes it past 100 on that electoral map. I'm just being honest. But hey, what do I know? You know, it's corrupt, man. And I'm just wishing the best in all you guys' life, man. Blessings to all my brothers and sisters around the world. We send our love and prayers out, especially to the ones affected by the hurricane and everything that's going on right now. It's crazy, man. Prayers for October. We do not know what to expect, y'all. You know, but 30 days away. 30 days away. Hope y'all are ready, man. And we do encourage everybody to go out and vote. But hey, let me know what y'all think, and I will catch y'all in the next one, man. Peace and love, family.